नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। आज हमारे साथ हैं राजा मुनीब साहब, जो बात करेंगे पाकिस्तान में एक बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग सी डेवलपमेंट हुई। राजा जी नमस्कार। मैं जरा एक 30 सेकंड लेता हूँ, ये बड़ी टेढ़ी सी
नमस्कार
चीज
सर।
बताने के लिए, क्योंकि कल रात से हम लोग इसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं। बाय द वे, आप लोग हम वी बीन मैसेजिंग अबाउट दिस, बट एक टीटीपी से अलेजिडली एक नोटिफिकेशन आया। वो नोटिफिकेशन कहता है कि भाई टीटीपी इज डिक्लेयरिंग वॉर ऑन पाकिस्तान, पूरी तरह से ऑल आउट जंग। ये सब हुआ, ठीक है, हम बात कर रहे हैं इसके बारे में। एंड एक डेढ़ घंटे के अंदर राजा साहब मुझे बताते हैं कि साहब ये तो फेक है यार, इसमें कुछ नहीं हो रहा, ये वो तो टीटीपी ने बोल दिया ये तो फेक है। तो अब समझ नहीं आया, टीटीपी का साइन स्टैम्प एकदम मस्त चीज आई और सडनली बोलते हैं भैया फेक है। क्या हुआ, पाकिस्तानियों ने क्या किया ऐसा ये नोटिफिकेशन चेंज हो गया? लेट्स टॉक टू राजा साहब। नमस्कार।
नमस्कार, थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी वंस अगेन आदि। पाकिस्तानियों ने कुछ नहीं किया। सो व्हाट बेसिकली हैपेंड वाज कि दिस नोटिफिकेशन केम about all out war. About an hour and a half later, they started saying कि TTP has refuted this completely. It's a fake. But when this notification came, TTP की एक मीटिंग हुई है ऑल लीडर्स की, और उस मीटिंग में हाँ जिरगा में it has been an overwhelming decision कि we'll have to go all out against Pakistan, we'll fight an all out war against them now. हुआ क्या है कि some member without the approval of the Shura Council to publish this ने इसको उठा के पब्लिश कर दिया। तो टेक्निकल होल्ड पे टीटीपी ने कहा कि नहीं ये फेक है, राइट? बट it's not entirely fake because what they have discussed in the meeting is exactly what it is saying कि they are going for an all-out war within Pakistan. They will be attacking all-out war and उसी को लेके वो जो मोहम्मद एजेंसी में अटैक हुआ सुसाइड बॉम्बर्स का, जिसमें 20 इनके एफसी के लड़के मारे गए, राइट? वो उसकी शुरुआत थी। That was the beginning of that. So it is not entirely fake. मतलब ठीक है, टीटीपी ओन नहीं करा पब्लिकली, they are not owning it, but टीटीपी ने डिसाइड किया है मीटिंग में कि they are going to go all out now, and we have been predicting कि it's a matter of time that when TTP will go all out after them. And TTP has decided because the time is right. The timing is sitting on perfectly well. Because do you remember the 6 September Defense Day speech of Munir? Did you watch that speech?
सबसे पहले तो उसने बोल दिया कि भाई हम तो कारगिल में घुसे थे।
Everybody picked up that. Very few people talked about what he spoke about Operation Azma-e-Istikhan. He said it is not a military operation.
Correct?
Right? He said ये मिलिट्री ऑपरेशन नहीं है, ये ऑपरेशन चेंज करने का है, हम इसमें वो भी करेंगे, बात भी करेंगे, ये भी करेंगे। बट आसिम मुनीर, if you look at that 6 September statement of Asim Munir, something was wrong with him. He was completely off.
उसके मुंह में क्या था?
उसके मुंह में से दही जम गया था।
नहीं, लोग तो बोल रहे थे तंबाकू खा रहा था।
नहीं, उसके मुंह में दही जम गया था। अगर आप उसकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज देखते, it was extremely negative. उसकी tone was borderline depressing. He was speaking as if he's been forced to say something he doesn't want to say. उसकी यूनिफॉर्म, this is the first army general in Pakistan जिसकी मैंने यूनिफॉर्म देखी है कि जो यूनिफॉर्म जो थी it was not fitting general first. उसका एक स्टार नीचे था, एक स्टार ऊपर था, ऐसा था। उसका ये वाला फीता जो था ये लंबा था, right? So definitely something was not wrong within that on that meeting. Definitely something was not right on 6th of September. Something went really, really wrong in that thing. Because neither his tone was in position, nor his messaging was in position, nor his uniform was in position. Nothing was in position. And on top of that, he came and he accepted that, yes, we fought Kargil also. So he conceded that. So that tells you that the pressure on Asim Munir is very, very high. Because now I think, I've been watching a lot of Pakistani commentators for last few days. Very closely I've been watching them. And, pro-establishment commentators have very slowly now started talking against the establishment. ठीक है, हम आयशा सदीका को सुनते हैं, बाकियों को सुनते हैं, but people like even रजा रूमी अब दबी जबान से ये बोल रहे हैं कि यार फौज को कहीं लोगों का भी सोचना पड़े। And he recently said this in one of the podcasts with one of the Pakistanis, right? So when the voices are coming from that side, इनका एक अनवर मसूद ने गिरफ्तार के साथ किया था, देखने वाला है वो. Yeah, and Anwar Masood is somebody who has been an establishment guy all along.
बहुत टाइम से 30 साल हो गए.
बहुत टाइम से. हाँ, right. उसकी टोन भी अगर आप देखोगी, it was like he looked like a defeated man. A man who's on a brink of defeat. So something inside Pakistan is not right.
What has happened? मेरे को ये समझाओ, because दो तीन चीजें हुई हैं. पहले तो अभी सडनली इमरान खान का वेट इज सडनली इंक्रीजिंग. आप ये देखो कि अभी वो ऑक्सफोर्ड का बन जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. एंड मोस्ट ऑफ दीज मेन स्ट्रीम चैप्स अभी दे स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग अबाउट खान साहब इज कमिंग बैक, एज इफ खान साहब इज बस जेल से बाहर निकल रहे हैं अभी कल सुबह.
See, Khan is not coming back kal subah. We'll talk about Khan. But what is happening in Pakistan is, one, if you look at what this Ishaq Dar said in UK, right? Ishaq Dar की स्पीच दोनों तरीके से आप वॉच करो. एक तरफ उसने ये बोला कि एक जर्नल था हमारा 3 स्टार, वो गया चाय पीने और उसने 100 हार्डन क्रिमिनल छोड़, राइट? दूसरा उसने ये बोला कि IMF चाहता था 2002 में कि पाकिस्तान डिफॉल्ट करे. So one, he annoyed the Americans. He said the Americans were behind it. What Imran Khan has been saying कि मेरे को डर्टी हैरी ने निकलवाया जी, ठीक है. सो एक तो वो बोल रहा है. दूसरा वो ये बोल रहा है कि अगर ही सेइंग कि a 3-star general went and हमको 100 hardened criminal छोड़ने पड़े जिनकी वजह से आज बलोचिस्तान में और खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में अटैक हो रहे हैं, that means he is pointing out to the entire chain of command जिसमें बाजवा भी आ. क्योंकि फैज हमीद खुद तो उठ के गया नहीं ना, उसको मतलब ही इज नॉट द फाइनल अथॉरिटी इन पाकिस्तानी आर्मी ना, ही वाज नॉट द COS.
उसके ऊपर
उसको भी भेजा गया था ना
कि भाई फैज हमीद गया वहां पर, उसने एक हमारे 3-स्टार जनरल ने वहां जाके ऐसे बात करी, ये वो. मैं वही
बोल रहा हूँ ना. तो फैज हमीद खुद तो रात में उठ के चला नहीं गया चाय पीने, राइट? अनलेस एंड अनटिल उसको ये बोला गया बाय द एस्टैब्लिशमेंट व्हिच वाज हेडेड बाय कमर बाजवा कि आप जाएं और चाय पी कर आएं, राइट? तो मैसेजिंग क्या है? मैसेजिंग एक तो ये है कि देन यू आर ब्लेमिंग द एंटायर. ना उसका तो वो पॉलिटिकल मोटिव था कि इमरान खान को मैं ब्लेम करूंगा, इमरान खान प्राइम मिनिस्टर था तब, राइट? कमर बाजवा चीफ था, तो इमरान की गलती है, इमरान की वजह से पाकिस्तान में टेररिज्म है. बट एट द सेम टाइम वो मैसेजिंग ये दे रहा है कि पाकिस्तानी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट जो है, they have taken wrong decisions, and because of our own military wrong decisions we are facing what we are facing. What is he trying to convey to the Pakistani establishment and to the Pakistani people? I understand the messaging, but that messaging to the Pakistani establishment is extremely damaging. Because if today you are ready to say that your journal made a wrong mistake, where does this mistakes, because Pakistan has a history of making chains of mistakes, right? इनकी तो chain है history. तो ये mistake किस journal पे जाके रुकेगी? यूकान पे जाके रुकेगी क्या?
नहीं वहां पे भी वो क्या ब्रिटिश वो क्या ऑकिलेक को बोल देंगे, नहीं उसकी गलती थी.
तो ऑकिलेक, हाँ तो वही ऑकिलेक पे जाके रुकेगी फिर. So एक तो वहां मोरल बहुत डाउन है within the Pakistani army. The morale is very down. Yeah. Right. Second problem is now they are saying, and this is a very good question. They are saying, ask Pakistanis who are they fighting. What is Taliban? Can one mullah in Pakistan, sitting in Pakistan, can speak against the Taliban? Can give a statement saying Taliban is wrong? None of them can say that Taliban is wrong.
अंदर से खा जाएंगे तुमको.
So the support within the people for Taliban is high. So their hands are tied.
कितना बोलोगे?
And कितना बोलोगे? You might call them whatever you want to call them, but at the end of the day, you don't have that support. You are unpopular and you have an economic problem. The connect is, अच्छा इमरान खान की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो आज रैली थी पाकिस्तान में, right? By the time the Gundapur got to Islamabad, you should have seen people there. And now they have tear gassed those people. नहीं, अभी तो वायलेंस हुई है ना, अभी तो उन्होंने टेयर गैस चलाई है ना। इन्होंने ये टेयर गैस क्यों चलाई है? क्योंकि हमने जी 7 बजे तक टाइम दिया था, आप लोगों ने 7 बजे के बाद रैली की, हमारा फर्ज बनता है। 2 दिन पहले गुंडापुर ने एंटीसिपेटरी बेल ली है फ्रॉम आई थिंक लाहौर हाई कोर्ट, बिकॉज उसके खिलाफ भी इन्होंने केसेस चढ़ाए हुए हैं, राइट। अब सुबह क्या होगा, दे आर गोइंग टू ब्लेम हिम कि इसने जी ये तोड़ा हमारा, जो उसको परमिशन दी थी पीटीआई को, ही इज द वन हु ब्रोक इट। अब इसके पीछे फिर एफआईआर लेकर दौड़े। Little they are realizing that doing these things is actually making people of Pakistan more and more nervous. Especially Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they are trying very hard कि वहां से पीटीआई की गवर्नमेंट किसी तरीके से हम निकाल दें और हम फिर जाके वहां पे कब्जा करें।
होगा क्या?
But it is not working. उससे कुछ नहीं होगा, because people are so anti them कि they will not be able to do anything. Now the larger question is, if Azme Istiqam is not a military operation, then what is it? Because you have said हमने 60 करोड़ रुपया, 60 बिलियन रुपए हमने जी इस ऑपरेशन के लिए निकाले हैं। तो जब आपने 60 करोड़ भी ले लिया, अब आप कह रहे हो ऑपरेशन ही नहीं है। आपकी मैसेजिंग इज नॉट स्ट्रॉन्ग इन द पीपल। यू आर 1 step forward, 2 step behind. You are not sure you want to take on TTP or you don't want to take on TTP. You don't have dialogue happening with Afghan Taliban. They are not interested. On the contrary, your skirmishes with them is increasing on the border. Yesterday, 5 Pakistani soldiers are injured because they shelled their, including a captain, because they were shelled by the Afghan Taliban. So once again, you have an issue with Taliban. Then you have an issue with TTP, then you have an internal issue where you think that Imran Khan को अगर हम किसी तरीके से बंद कर दें तो हमारी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स जो हैं वो सॉल्व हो जाएंगी. Pakistan will be a very, we'll have all our support back. So the Pakistanis are caught in their own trap. How do they come out of it? They have no dialogue mechanism either with KP. They have no dialogue mechanism with the Baloch. They pushed Baloch to an extent where Akhtar Mengal said कि I am not interested, जाओ यार, बाहर में जाओ. He resigned. And not only that, his statement, उसका statement कितना strong था. He said कि मैं अपने लड़कों को, बच्चों को ये बोलता हूं कि जिसने तुम्हें तकलीफ पहुंचाई है उसको पहुंचाओ, locals को मत पहुंचाओ. Indirectly saying that I am supporting all these things. BLA. And all his life, this Akhtar Mengal has been, a politician on the Pakistani side. Now he's also sensing that the wind is Balochistan is completely changing. And he wants to become a larger stakeholder where, he gets on the American side because of Mahran Baloch. So that is how bad things for Pakistan are. But unfortunately, Pakistanis don't know how to react. They literally don't know. I don't think any Pakistani knows how to get out of this situation. Because their only response is violence, their only response is violence, their only response is violence. And violence now is not working in Pakistan. Because there is counter violence, and the counter violence is much more stronger than the violence perpetrated by the state. And they don't know how to counter that violence. So that is what is happening in Pakistan in short.
Somewhere down the line, you look at two things. One is बाजवा को भी पकड़ के रखा हुआ है, ठीक है, उसको क्या नाम है, हाउस अरेस्ट करके रखा हुआ है, ठीक है, और ये आर्मी चीफ को पकड़ के रखा हुआ है यहाँ पर. दिस इज समथिंग which is insane. Having said that, अमेरिकन्स का इसके अंदर काफी रोल रहेगा, राइट? बिकॉज जिस तरह से अमेरिकन्स इस रीजन के अंदर रीएंगेज हो रहे हैं, आई थिंक द फाइनल चाइना प्लान इज नाउ कमिंग इनटू प्ले. रशिया के साथ हो गया है, इनको समझ में आ गया है, ठीक है, वो चल रहा है. वी नीड टू गेट ऑन टू चाइना. एंड जिस तरह से रीएंगेज कर रहे हैं ये लोग इस रीजन के अंदर, इफ यू लुक एट इट विद फिलीपींस, विद वियतनाम, विद ऑल दीज other guys that they're re-engaging, you can make out that the so-called pivot to Asia aa raha hai. How do you think the Americans are going to look at this? And ये जो आसिम मुनीर की हालत है आज, उसमें अमेरिकन्स का कितना बड़ा रोल है?
अमेरिकन्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल है. Americans made him fail deliberately. Because as I said, the Americans will gain more the more Pakistan will become weak. The more Pakistan loses control, the Americans will play the game. Why? Because one, Americans have a very good working relation with the Afghan Taliban. So they have consolidated that relationship. China also has a good working relationship with them, but the American relationship is on a different level, right? To the Americans, the investments American made in the Rico dig in Balochistan, right?
भाई पैसे तो वहीं
So
से
they
चाहिए
are
ना
there
यार,
to.
पैसे कहाँ से
मैं वही
लाओगे
कह
आप?
रहा हूँ. So that
IMF को चाहिए ना.
वही है. Three, the way they created a wedge between the Chinese and the Pakistanis, so they made sure that the Chinese don't further fund the Pakistanis and Pakistanis fall back into their lap begging. And they got successful in that because the Chinese have refused to give even a single penny to the Pakistanis. The Chinese loans have gone so bad that they are saying nothing, not even a single penny. Right? They have effectively cut them from Saudi Arabia as well. The Saudis are not interested.
सऊदी ने एक नैरेटिव चलाया, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट यू, सऊदी ने एक नैरेटिव चलाया बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सा कि भाई जो पाकिस्तान में हम पैसे खर्चे करने वाले थे, जो इन्वेस्टमेंट करने वाले थे, इंपोर्ट्स, वो भारत में जाएगा.
See, अगर आपको याद होगा, I said this 6 months back that Saudis are not going to invest into Pakistan because it is not viable for the Saudis to come into Pakistan. Right? The Saudis have cut their funding off. The UAE has cut its funding off. Now, what is Pakistan dependent on? It is wholly dependent on US. So what do? They have to dance to their tunes. And that is why the Pakistanis now are flabbergasted. To nahi main bolunga, they should not be flabbergasted, but Pakistanis are at loss to think of how to get out of this situation. Because now I think, two things will happen. Either Munir will make another scapegoat out of Shahbaz Sharif, or Munir will be kicked out as a very disappointed man.
By Army Chief. पता नहीं यार, ये पता है, आप भी यही बोल रहे हो, काफी लोग मेरे को और भी यही बोल रहे हैं, भाई पाकिस्तानी आर्मी चीफ क्यों कर, एंड द होल पॉइंट ऑफ बाजवा बीइंग अंडर हाउस अरेस्ट मेरे गले से नीचे नहीं उतरती वो बात. इट जस्ट डजंट गो डाउन बिकॉज़ दैट्स एन एक्स आर्मी चीफ. यार पाकिस्तान में तुम आर्मी चीफ के साथ ये करना शुरू हो जाओ तो पाकिस्तान गए हो भाई, जैसे मैंने लिखा है वहां पर, गए हो गया.
सर इन्होंने मुशर्रफ के साथ क्या किया?
I know, but he was a politician at that time.
No.
Devil's advocate. He was a politician at that time.
Okay. Given. What did they do with Ayub? What did they do with Ziaul Haq?
जिया पाकिस्तानी ने थोड़ी करा.
सर वो बॉम्ब अमेरिकन तो नहीं रखने आया था ना, वो पाकिस्तानी था, उसका फौज में वर्दी वाला ही था जिसने वो पैकेट पकड़ा के बोला था साहब ये आम है आपके लिए, हम जहाज में रखते हैं. तो उसने कहा था तो विद इन फौज ही ना, था तो पाकिस्तानी. कोई सिविलियन तो नहीं वॉक इन किया था ना कि सर ये आपकी पेटी है. फौजी जहाज में ही रखा गया था ना सर, वो सिविलियन एयरक्राफ्ट भी नहीं था, वो पाकिस्तानी आर्मी का, पाकिस्तानी एयरफोर्स का जहाज था.
या वो तो पता ही है. बट मेरे को एक चीज बताओ.
So what is so different with Bajwa? Why are we surprised that Bajwa is under house arrest? Wasn't Asad Durrani under house arrest for a very long time? DGISI? Pakistani military has a history. Pakistani politicians have a history. Pakistani army officers also have a history. The only thing is we look more on the politician side. We, undermine sometimes, or we don't focus that much on the Pakistani journal's history. So I am not surprised Bajwa is inside. He's the last ace card for Asim Munir. If Bajwa card fails, I'm telling you Asim Munir is out. And that tells me on that 6th September why his body language was so weak. He's not able to move forward. He's facing resistance.
Let's look at the neighborhood. ठीक है, क्योंकि अफगान मेरे हिसाब से जो मेरे को भी इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है, whatever is coming through to me, is that TTP का ये जो ऑर्डर है, this is real. ठीक है, and there is a massive attack coming. ठीक है, I can say it with all confidence, within the next 3 to 5 days, lots of Pakistanis are going to die. एंड इस टाइम पे मेरे को ये भी पता चला है कि टीटीपी ने बड़ा क्लियरली बोला है, डोंट लुक कौन क्या क्या कैसे, वी नीड टू हैव ब्लड ऑन द स्ट्रीट.
They need to have blood on the street because they know that, if they don't do what they want to do, then how is what they're giving control to the establishment? The whole point is Pakistani army as its weakest right now. So as a strategic planner, when you see your enemy as its weakest, you strike when the iron is hot. The iron is hot to strike for TTP. They will strike. It's a matter of 3 days or a week, but yes, it will happen. In fact, I would say it has already happened. The Taliban is already softening their borders. They're shelling them.
And Pakistanis are sending only one video, one T-59 tank उसका उड़ा दिया हमने, देखो पाकिस्तानी आर्मी कितनी जबरदस्त है, ये है वो है and all that stuff. But let's talk a little more about the Americans. ये जो घुसे हैं, now Americans are inside Balochistan, we know that for a fact. जिस तरह से Baloch are kind of reacting, and you saw that Baloch Yakuti committee, right? तो पाकिस्तानी आर्मी ने एक ऑर्डर निकाला है कि भाई you can pick up anybody in Balochistan with no issues.
I don't understand the order that is already happening. What is Maran Baloch on the streets all about?
Why are they putting this in writing?
Because this is something which they are saying now is like AFSP, आपका जो जैसा हमारा है Armed Forces Special Power Act, right? Or UAP है जिसको हम under terrorism use करते हैं, for 6 months we can pick up anything. In extreme cases, Pakistani army wants to legalize what they have been doing. और उस पे Senate में there is a lot of opposition which has happened in the Pakistani Senate very recently. They said that this is not the way to go forward. Already the Balochis have been disconnected from us. They're worried about the disappearances which has happened. And now you want to double down on what the mistakes you are doing. This is not the way to go forward. The Pakistani politicians are talking about. But then Pakistani politicians don't hold any water. They have no weightage in what they say. But at least they are talking sense. And how is it going to change the reality on Balochistan? They might enter home. See, I will tell you why they would have done this. They want to take civilian population hostage so that the BLA doesn't attack their camps in Balochistan. So every time there is an attack, they will pick up these boys and say they are hostages to us. This is where Pakistani army's defense has broken down to. They want a legal way to take hostages to save their own lives in Balochistan. This is how I see it. That is why they have passed that order. Nothing more to it.
It's so funny. This is an order that can go against them very very badly. क्योंकि आप ये चीज दिखा सकते हो कि साहब ये देखो ये कर रहे हैं हमारे अगेंस्ट में. And जिस तरह से Americans वहां पर घुसे हुए हैं, they are probably looking for an opportunity like this to hit back. And वो hit back
everybody
नहीं होगा. वो बड़ा privately hit back होगा. There is no question about that. But what do you think is the lifeline for this current government right now? Shehbaz Sharif and all these guys. कितना इनका life बचा है अभी? People are saying 3 months.
3 to 6 months is what I give them. Wow. Either them or the general, either of the two. 3 to 6 months is what I give them. From November 22nd onwards, the countdown starts. Yeah, I narrow it down to the date.
November 22nd. तो कौन है अगला?
Onwards the countdown. वो देखेंगे कौन आएगा. That is going to be interesting. Maybe a new general.
एक और economist ले आएंगे क्या?
Maybe a new general, maybe a new economist. You don't know.
Economist ही होगा यार आपको.
Maybe Bilawal Bhutto.
Oh my God. I just got rid of that memory and you just brought it back. Billo Rani. Interesting. So देखो आज एक और चीज है which is being discussed quite a bit in Pakistan and not in social media, but I know it's being spoken about in certain circles, is that ये जो एक दो dialogues आए हैं, right, from India. One is about Rajnath Singh Saab saying, "Bhaiya, be ready for anything unexpected and watch out for your neighborhood." He said that. Now, second, there is a statement again now which has come from him. He said कि साहब POK तो हमारा ही है, लोग तो हमारे ही हैं, ये है वो. अब देखो, we know the reality. He also knows the reality. But statement की क्या बुराई है, right? तीसरा एक ये जो रा की साजिश आ रही है यहाँ पर, ये जो प्रोटेस्ट में हाई अलर्ट डिक्लेयर कर दिया है पाकिस्तान ने, जबरदस्त प्रोटेस्ट है, दे ओपन फायर इन सर्टेन प्लेसेस, ये वो एंड ऑल दैट। दे आर, आई एम हियरिंग वॉइसेस वेयर पीपल आर सेइंग कि इमरान खान को भी ना भारत बहुत हेल्प करता है। दे आर नॉट सेइंग कि इमरान खान हेल्प ले रहा है, दे आर सेइंग भारत बहुत हेल्प करता है, बिकॉज दे नो दिस इज अ फॉल्ट लाइन दैट यू कैन प्ले विद। ये इंडिया का क्या, व्हाट डू यू, आई मीन, I know we're not going to go in, and I know we're not going to do anything stupid there, but
see, we are not doing any one. This is more to do with Pakistan's more internal messaging than anything to do with us. One, इमरान खान को गोल्स जूस सपोर्ट करते हैं, वो जूश है, वो इजराइल के साथ पीस चाहता है, फिर इमरान खान को भारत सपोर्ट करता है। This is all nonsense for the internal masses, so that they start looking at Imran Khan कि इमरान खान जो है वो मुसलमान नहीं है ज़्यादा, और ये ज़्यादा मुसलमान है, to break his support. So this is a more political messaging within Pakistan than in reality what we have to do. It's as simple as that.
And I agree
with defense ministers, but I agree with defense ministers think that he said to be ready for your neighborhood. Because you don't know, these Pakistanis can get very desperate tomorrow, and to save themselves, they will do something with us, where we might have to retaliate, and then they say, "देखो भारत आ गया, हम तो कह रहे थे रहा आ रहा है." Right? You have to be very, very careful. You can't discount that. So I think he's right. He's right in that assessment.
Let me just share this screen. I'm sorry, so that the people realize what we are talking about when we are saying that there is a protest happening in Pakistan. This is happening outside Islamabad, by the way. So that's pretty massive, and it's just started, Aaj. So
this is when it started. Is this when Gundapur got in, or he's about to get in? Because then another
get in.
उससे पहले का है, उससे पहले का है ना ये। हाँ, तो उसपे इसको आप ऑलमोस्ट डबल कर दो। उसके साथ इतनी गाड़ियां थी कि लोग इतने थे, वो केपी से वॉक करके आए।
Yeah, this pretty. And दूसरा, there's also another video where the people are throwing off containers.
See, this tells you that despite Imran being in jail for a very long time, he still has that power to mobilize on the streets. PTI still holds ground, and they have this power, political power, to mobilize people on the ground. And this is what cannot be digested. Now, what they might have thought? They might have thought it will be a very small venue, कुछ लोग जमा हो जाएंगे, कुछ हो जाएगा, छोड़ देंगे. Now this is going to compound the problem, because now they are going to think नहीं यार, लोगों का जो participation था वो बहुत ज्यादा था. Right? And now they try to trigger violence by shelling these guys and saying कि हमने इनको भगाने की कोशिश की है. So they wanted to trigger a violence. So this is the problem with Pakistani state. The Pakistani state's only response is violence to everything that is happening around it. और वो भी full-fledged violence नहीं है, वो भी half-baked है. फिर जब वापस आती है तो फिर ये चुप करके दुबक के बैठ जाते हैं कि अब हम इसका क्या. So it will be very interesting to see next 1 to 2 days how Pakistan, this PTI thing is going to play. I'll be keeping a close eye on this.
Yes,
कल क्या होता है, परसों क्या होता है.
There is a demand कि भाई कंटेनर वाला वीडियो भी दिखा दो, तो हम वो भी दिखा देते हैं. ये है कंटेनर वाला वीडियो, ठीक है, इसको आप देखिए.
हाँ, ये रहा और गया. क्यों, जब आपने परमिशन दी है फिर आपने कंटेनर क्यों लगाया? Right, then there was no point of putting a container. They wanted that this should fail, but it has not failed. It shows that Imran is still somewhere very, popular on the ground. People are still getting there.
वो तो है. आप free and fair election करा लो इस टाइम पे पाकिस्तान में. Imran Khan will get the majority that Pakistanis cannot dream of.
Sir, Pakistanis can never do free and fair elections. There is nothing called free and fair elections in Pakistan, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. And the more they do this with PTI, the more heroic they are going to make Imran.
चलो, let's get into questions. काफी सारे अच्छे सवाल हैं, ठीक है, because the subject that people are asking and is also pretty varied. So let's get into that. मजेदार सवाल है. Let's do that, guys. जरा प्लीज लाइक ठोको यार जोर से, ठीक है. सॉरी वी वर 10 minutes early. You guys know मेरे को सुबह 3 बजे एयरपोर्ट में पहुंचना है यार, तो आई एम काइंड ऑफ ट्रैवलिंग. बट please like this video, subscribe to the channel. No, 3 बजे उठना है. Or is it? Yeah, something like that. Whatever. We देखूंगा tickets. But anyways, like, subscribe, and please share these videos with your friends and families. Most importantly, guys, share. ठीक है, 286,000 हो गए हैं, 14,000 for the big 300,000. So आपको जरा support करना है इस channel को. And of course, yes, please use the QR code or the PayPal link in the description for, kindly giving your contributions if you can towards this channel, or you can also become members or super stickers or super chats. Also guys, WhatsApp चैनल को प्लीज फॉलो करिए. कई लोग बोल रहे हैं यार, अभी भी बोलते हैं नोटिफिकेशन नहीं आते यार. उसका मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता. मैं ये बोल सकता हूँ, WhatsApp चैनल है, उसके ऊपर लिंक जरूर रहते हैं. सो प्लीज डू दैट, एंड यू कैन ऑल्सो फॉलो द Instagram एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. आपको एक शो कर्नल हनी बख्शी के साथ जो एक बड़ा शो होने वाला है, उसका प्रीमियर वहां पर दिखेगा. So stay tuned to the online this thing so that you guys can figure out. एक दो बड़े podcasts अभी आने वाले हैं. Very interesting podcast and something that you guys will enjoy. So please उसको भी जरा follow करिए. Let's get into questions. सबसे पहले I'm going to give a little out of turn sort of a thing to Norman साहब. ये 2 दिन पहले भी आए थे मेरे पास पूछने के लिए. कहते हैं पहले तो Norman साहब, I hope you are doing well and your country is doing well as well. कहते हैं साहब, गंदापुर is traveling to Kabul with other tribal leaders. इसका क्या गेम है?
Yeah, so it's very simple. The Jirga meeting is now going to Kabul to get the final authority from the Kabul leaders. It's as simple as that. सर, पाकिस्तान में इस्लाम लाना है, मदीना की रियासत है वो. और किसके लिए?
I can't just listen to that without laughing. Hu Jintao, Ni Hao. Thank you so much. You say, Raja Saab, do you think US is trying to corner Pakistan fully to force it to fully ditch China and CPEC in exchange for US not supporting Balochistan separation? That's a good question.
See, that is a good question, but look, the US has already cornered Pakistan where it wants Pakistan to be. The US would not want Pakistan to slip further away from where it is now, right? Yeah. And slowly they are going to devour Pakistan. The China-Pakistan relations are extremely broken as of now. Chinese have their own internal, problems right now with regards to CCP, which in coming days will play out, right? So the Americans have become extremely aggressive in this region from last some time, and Americans have got Pakistanis exactly where they want them to
be. That's interesting. बोलते हैं ना, दबोच के रखा है. Out of my mind, thank you. He says he agreed on breaking the Lahore agreement. He was made to read what they did wrong. Asim Munir.
Who? Yes, absolutely. That is what I'm telling you. You tell me which general doesn't wear his uniform properly. This is the first Pakistani general whose uniform was not proper. That tells you that this general was under a lot of pressure. Pressure by whom? We don't know, but pressure for sure. That is why I'm saying that either Shahbaz Sharif, it has come to a point where either Shahbaz will go out or Asim Munir will go out. He was borderline depressing in the way he spoke. Pakistani journals don't speak in that tone and tenor. His tone and tenor both were borderline depressive.
चलो वो भी
it was like as if he was forced to speak.
वो भी दिखा देते हैं ऑडियंस को, है ना? क्या कहते हो?
हाँ, प्लीज दिखाएं आप, क्योंकि they will relate with it. What I'm saying.
ये देखो, मेडल देखो.
सर मेडल देखो, कॉलर देखो. Look at the collar.
ये लाइन में नहीं है.
मैं वही आपको कह रहा हूँ. This is the first general जिसकी यूनिफॉर्म पाकिस्तान में प्रॉपर नहीं है. He's not wearing a proper uniform. Look at his face.
Oh God. ये तो यार डेंटल ट्रीटमेंट करा के आया क्या? रूट कनाल, मुंह पे एकदम सूजन है.
मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ कि I was, the first thing I look about a Pakistani politician or a general is his body language. When he walked onto this podium to speak, I knew things are gone wrong.
Yeah, first of all,
this man is under a lot.
पहन के बात कर रहा है.
And he is also covering his eyes.
Yeah.
He's not making an eye contact with the public. He's avoiding that. He's keeping his head very low.
This
He
guy is
wants to
quite
read the script and nothing beyond the script.
he is quite a narrator यार, ऐसी बात नहीं है, बात तो जबरदस्त
सर
करता
आप ये
है।
सुने इसकी, इसने 12 मिनट की स्पीच दी है, एग्जैक्ट 12 मिनट्स की स्पीच है, और 12 मिनट की स्पीच ऐसी है कि जैसे ये किसी का मातम मना रहा है, इसे बोला नहीं जा रहा, ये उस टोन में बात कर रहा है, वेरी हैवी टोन। I saw this speech 3 times to understand what is wrong with us.
I saw it. I didn't, I literally didn't see it. I heard it. I said, yeah, okay.
No, I saw it 3 times. I
मैं
repeated it, watched every expression of his कि ये कर क्या रहा है। वो नहीं होता सर, वो एक बच्चा होता है जिसको जबरदस्ती खाना वाले सामने खड़ा कर देते हैं, बोलना नहीं चाहता, और उसको मार पीट के लाया होता है, डरा धमका के लाया होता है, और वो बेचारा खड़ा होकर फिर बोलता है हाँ जनाब, हाँ जनाब, हाँ जनाब। Exactly the same thing with us.
Interesting. Okay, Priest of Mars जी, thank you so much. Says इस्लामाबाद में सरकार वास्तव में कितने क्षेत्र पर नियंत्रण रखती है? तालिबान वास्तव में देश के अधिकांश हिस्से पर नियंत्रण रखता है और बलूचिस्तान लगभग खो चुका है। क्या हालात इतने खराब है?
हालात वाकई इतने खराब है, पाकिस्तान के हालात बहुत खराब है। ये पाकिस्तान की मीडिया जो है ये कुछ बोलती नहीं है, बट पाकिस्तान के हालात बहुत खराब हैं। पाकिस्तान के कमेंटेटर्स जो सुबह शाम गुन गाते थे एस्टैब्लिशमेंट के, आज उन्होंने बोलना शुरू कर दिया है। दे हैव स्टार्टेड नाउ स्पीकिंग आउट की आई रियली लाइक अनवर मसूद्स हिज लास्ट कमेंट वाज, बेटा जब हम ही नहीं बचेंगे तो फौज क्या करेगी। ही टेल्स फैसल नसीर, बेटा जब हम ही नहीं बचेंगे तो फौज क्या करेगी।
Damn.
And this is a resonation coming out of across many Pakistani political commentators and military commentators.
अच्छा, एक जरा सवाल बार बार आ रहा है. I want to respond to this once and for all. People are asking what are Asim Munir's medals. So let's look at them. ठीक है, इसमें 3.5 rows of medals. ठीक है.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. First is Sword of Honor from OTS. चल ठीक है, मिल गया, शाबाश.
कमांड एंड
स्टाफ कॉलेज का इंस्ट्रक्टर मेडल है इसके पास. अच्छा, इंस्ट्रक्टर के
लिए मेडल है. He was a good instructor.
अच्छा, not bad. उसके बाद तमाग है, whatever. इंडिपेंडेंस डे गोल्डन जुबली का मेडल है. ठीक है, रेजोल्यूशन डे गोल्डन जुबली का मेडल है. ठीक है. अब ये देखो गाइस, सबसे प्यारा इसका जो मेडल है 1988 में इसको मिला है क्या? डेमोक्रेसी का मेडल. समझ रहे हैं आप लोग? डेमोक्रेसी मेडल है
1988 ज़िया-उल-हक के टाइम पे.
ज़िया-उल-हक के टाइम पे इसको डेमोक्रेसी का मेडल मिला है. उसके बाद 35 साल सर्विस, 30 साल सर्विस, 20 साल सर्विस, 10 साल सर्विस. मेडल ऑफ कन्विक्शन. ये क्या है भाई? ही इज वेरी कन्विक्टेड. एस्केलेशन विद इंडिया. ये देख लो, एस्केलेशन विद इंडिया. इंडिया की तरफ उसने 5 गोली चलाई तो उसको 2002 में मेडल मिल गया. ठीक है जी. न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट मेडल. यार अगर एस्केलेशन विद पाकिस्तान मेडल होता ना, हमारे बेचारे जर्नलों को ना यहां से यहां तक पूरा नीचे टांगों तक मेडल होते, जैसे रशियंस के नहीं होते वैसे ही होते. यहां पर देखो क्या है, न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट मेडल. अच्छा जी, वेरी गुड. उसके बाद क्या है, सियाचिन ग्लेशियर क्लास. कभी गया तो होगा नहीं वहां पर, बट दे दिया.
क्लास में गया तो मैं
क्रेसेंट ऑफ एक्सीलेंस, ऑर्डर ऑफ
हिलाल इम्तियाज.
बट गाइस
ये दूसरा कौन सा है? ये 222 वाला कौन सा है? क्या निशान इम्तियाज है ना? हाँ, निशान इम्तियाज पाकिस्तान का.
सबसे बढ़िया चीज जो आपने देखी होगी ये है एस्केलेशन विद इंडिया मेडल एंड डेमोक्रेसी मेडल. जरा ये मत भूलिएगा, ये है आपका प्यारा पाकिस्तान. ठीक है.
नहीं तो आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट करते हो? पाकिस्तानी फौज को कौन सा जंग का कौन सा मेडल मिलेंगे? वहां उन्होंने किया क्या जो उनको मेडल मिलने वाला है? Right? It is like that participatory things, a certificate लिख के दे दो, मैंने participate कर दिया. I mean, this is a joke. You have a democracy medal in Pakistan 1988 when Zia-ul-Haq was ruling as a bloody president of Pakistan, and there was no democracy in Pakistan. Then you have a Sachin class medal. You have gone to Sachin base camp. You have stayed there in that winter cold, and you got. I think our men then commendable job they do on Sachin, and we don't recognize their feat at Sachin. I mean, this is a mockery of Pakistani army. I am not surprised that they don't have a political medal यार. इन्होंने ये नहीं लिखा हुआ है कि वो इमरान खान को हटाने का मेडल, नवाज शरीफ को लाने का मेडल, इलेक्शन में मेडल करने का मेडल. Very soon Pakistani army will be giving tamgas on depending on किसने कितने वोट लाए उसका मेडल. 1 लाख वोट जमा करने का मेडल, 50,000 वोट जमा करने का मेडल. That is what the Pakistani army is talking nonsense.
Once again, thank you. Pak Punjabi Army motto: जंग कदे लड़ी नहीं, इलेक्शन कदे हारिया नहीं. Sending love.
हारिया नहीं. इस बारी तो इलेक्शन भी हार गए, जंग भी हारे, इलेक्शन भी हारे, सब कुछ हारे. इस बारी तो हारे ही हारे. इलेक्शन कितने जीते हैं वो भी खत्म हो गया. इलेक्शन कभी हारिया नहीं, इलेक्शन भी हार गए. हम बचे की उथे चड्डी बनियान बची, वो भी उतार लो तुसी लोग. खत्म करो, माजरा ही खत्म करो.
कहते हैं सेंडिंग लव फ्रॉम ब्रिटेनिस्तान में तालिबान खान विल बिकम अ चांसलर.
Oh well, that's the sad reality of Oxford. If Imran Khan becomes the Oxford chancellor, but then what do you do with these institutions?
Prakhar Mishra ji, thank you. Does Sindh carry out separatist sentiments too?
Yeah, every part of Pakistan except Pakistani Punjab for now is highly sentimental separatist sentiment. Whether it is Sindh, whether it is Balochistan, whether it is KPK, whether it is Ram Rahim, Yar Khan, and all those areas. Everything. Pakistan is in a disarray.
Naveen Saab says, what's with that Israeli article on Imran Khan?
Okay, so that Israeli article is what I mentioned. They're saying that he is this. This is a leftist Jew girl who's sitting in Brussels, and it's Times of Israel's blog. Right, it's not in their newspaper, it's in their blog. They got it inserted, so it's in, it's for the Pakistani army. It's like that Intercept story which they do in US where they start blaming everybody.
Times of Israel is also one of the biggest lefty newspapers in Israel. Remember that?
Yes, it's a left platform newspaper. So no weight, it doesn't matter. पर वैसे ही पाकिस्तानी को अंग्रेजी तो आती है, उनको समझ तो आती है.
Naman Saab, thank you. TTP BLA attack cricket venues in Pakistan.
We don't know. There is cricket happening in Pakistan. The Bangladeshis defeated them soundly now. I don't think cricket will happen in Pakistan.
I have a Hilale Pakistan.
And why do they need to? And I don't think they should be attacking. They have a very legit duck sitting in front of them, which is the Pakistani army, which holds. Why do you want to go and kill innocent people? No?
I have a Hilale Pakistan for Harsh Tiwari साहब. He says अमेरिका से भीख लेने का मेडल. साहब इसके लिए आपको हिलाले पाकिस्तान दिया जाता है. जबरदस्त कमेंट
नहीं, इसके लिए तो हिलाले पाकिस्तान नहीं, इसके लिए तो नोबेल प्राइज देना चाहिए पाकिस्तान को. It's the only country which is so astute in getting so much of arms. Arms means beak.
Yeah.
ALMS, arms.
Rajesh Saab says, will Imran Khan get a heart attack or some serious medical emergency in the next few days?
See, if Imran had to get a heart attack or a serious medical emergency, Imran would have got it. The problem is, if they do that with Imran Khan, then they are very unstable. Please remember that Imran Khan is not because Imran Khan is Imran Khan. Imran Khan has a huge lobby of Muslim Brotherhood behind it. The Pakistanis are not even understanding the impact of what will happen to them internally if they do something with Imran. And that is why, these trips of UK, you are trying to see where they're trying to broker a deal with the Muslim Brotherhood people sitting in UK, but it is not working for them. It's not happening. And if they kill Imran Khan, people, Pakistanis say that Pakistanis don't have a stomach for revolution. But I'm telling you, if they do something with Imran Khan, there will be a revolution in Pakistan. People will come out on the streets.
कपड़े फाड़ देंगे यार ये लोग. जैद साहब कहते हैं, आदि CEO Maulana Diesel saying Balochis are not teaching about Pakistan in schools and have declared independence. By the way, Afghan is buying arms from Russia to fight against Pakistanis. Is it true?
See, the Afghanis have a lot of weapons which the Americans take. And most of the weapons you are seeing what the Baloch Liberation Army or Baloch Liberation Front or all these separatist organizations, insurgency organizations operating not only in Balochistan but also in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are using the same NATO weapons, right? We have not seen any Russian weapons. We don't have any evidence of Russian weapons being used by these insurgencies. We are seeing American weapons being used increasingly in Pakistan. So the Afghans what Afghans are looking for is for their own defenses. They are looking at anti-aircraft, defense from the Russians against the Pakistanis. That is what the Afghans are procuring. They're not procuring weapons for insurgency against Pakistan. They're looking at their own defenses, and that is where the procurement talk is happening. So there is a difference between the two.
Shah Saab says Pakistan has a history of going on to a self-dug hole and barely coming out of it. Are we reading too much between the lines and declaring an endgame for Pakistan? Won't it bounce back again?
See,
May I
Pakistan.
I have a simple logic to answer this. You throw a ball, right? It bounces a couple of times, but the bounce height keeps reducing. What do you say to that?
Absolutely correct. I agree with you, and that's exactly what I was going to say too. Once the bounce height reduces, second thing is, even if Pakistan bounces back, let's argue this for a moment and say, okay, they will bounce back. On how many parameters are they going to bounce back? Are they going to bounce back very strongly on economy? Do they have that kind of things? Economic leeway where they can bounce back on economy? No, they don't. Right? Are they going to bounce back militarily? How are they going to do that? Are they going to carry an all-out war against Afghanistan? Or are they going to bomb the KPK to ground? Are they going to raise it to the ground? Do they have that kind of will? They don't have that kind of will. Do they have the will to, install martial law in Pakistan for next 20 years and say that no politicians in Pakistan for next 20 years, only army is going to rule? Absolutely, that is not going to happen. And is there a general who's capable of ruling Pakistan for that long? Absolutely not. So yes, Pakistan will bounce back, but the bounce will depend on how higher America tosses it and how low the bounce is going to be as per the American toss. So if Americans toss them higher, they will bounce. If Americans toss them lower, they will bounce a bit lower. That's the bounce back.
Interesting. All right. Rajesh Saab says, why does India not openly take sides and fund and provide them with arms and ammunition and moral support, just as Pakistan does in India?
Why?
We must see that Pakistan disintegrates fast. Even if you do, why
it is not going
to do it in the open?
No, on the contrary, one, why do you want to do it in the open? Second, on the contrary, that is exactly what you don't want to do, because once that you start doing that, all these Pakistanis which are fragmented will get together and say that Islam khatre mein aur Hindustan hamare andar aa. So why do you want to do that? Why do you want to strengthen them?
Which happened ना, मनमोहन सिंह ने जाके बोल तो दिया था वहां पर, इजिप्ट में जाके उसने बोल दिया था कि हम बलोचिस्तान में ये कर रहे हैं. उसके बाद for bloody 3 years we had a tough time pushing back that narrative here, and abhi tak they talk about the same nonsense.
So why should we do
whatever
that?
you need to be fired? Yeah.
We can only give moral support to the Balochi people.
Yeah. Bharat Saab says, Aadi ji, if Pakistan is so much in trouble, then why are they poking their nose in Bangladesh?
See, the problem with Pakistanis is they need the little small happiness things that somebody else is also going to look like them. They are not the only jokers left. There is some other circus starting somewhere else. So let's see what Pakistan is posting. The Pakistan as a state is not in a position to poke any news, right? But Pakistani jihadi organizations have a huge chance to poke their nose in Bangladesh. They're already doing that. Jamaat-e-Islami is doing that. We know it. Al-Qaeda is doing that. We know it. There are organizations which are doing that. We know it. But Pakistan as a state has no position, has no locus standi in Bangladesh. Pakistan can't feed its own people. What is it going to feed Bangladeshi people? It can't even give them aid. He will have to beg to some other country to say, "Yaar, 10 million de do, mujhe Bangladesh ko aid de di." So Pakistani state has no role in Bangladesh.
So I thought this particular thing is done with, but this has come back, huh? MPC Saab, thank you so much. Firstly, he says, Sir, says they've found 4th largest oil and gas reserves, but need 5 billion and 5 years for exploration and extraction.
Okay, let me explain this. No. Let me explain this in a much better way. Every time Pakistani media has reported that oil reserves have been found in Pakistan, in next 6 months, one or the other government has gone. Last time media reported, within 6 months, Imran Khan was gone. Okay. Now, the Pakistani establishment have this huge things about sheikhs. They love sheikhs and they want Pakistanis to become sheikhs. So every 2 years, 1 year, Pakistani establishment shows Pakistanis the Sheikh Chili ka khab. They want Pakistan to become Sheikh Chili. So they look at this Sheikh Chili khab and they say that the Sheikh Chili dream is we have found oil and gas reserves. The point is where the Pakistani rare earth minerals is Pakistan don't have any stake on those at all.
Yeah.
They have lost it. They gave it to China. They gave it to US. Look at what has happened in Pakistan. And if this oil comes out in Pakistan, then think where Pakistan would be. So this Sheikh Chili dream is not selling, right? And be very careful. Every time the Sheikh Chili dream comes, Pakistani government falls. Mark these words of me.
ये राजा साहब ने आज सीक्रेट खोल दिया भाई. ठीक है. Center spots up. Thank you. You say how much time is left for Pakistan's survival? Prediction, please. And will Afghanistan become a future enemy once our borders meet, according to Chanakya's Mandal Niti?
See, I will give Pakistani maximum a decade to last. Maximum.
Sir, I am saying 3 years.
No, I'll give them a decade to last. You know, यार मरते time लगता है. कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा जाता है. So I'll give them I give them a decade because by decade that whole thing will change, right? It will take 10 years for that whole thing to change. So I'm giving them a decade to that.
Might stop being used in a decade, but yeah.
And you know, and all these Pakistani journalists like Hamid Mir, who would be writing for Afghanis, saying that how despicable as a state Pakistan was, and how right it is a decision for Afghan Taliban to take over Pakistan. This will be the future of Hamid Mir. I'm telling you today. Okay. If he listens, he should listen to this. We'll talk after 10 years if we both are alive.
Steven, thank you. You say, why are they biting each other? Barwa is Punjabi, Munir is Punjabi. What's the rift all about? Don't they know they got bigger issue to go?
It has got nothing to do. See, the problem is where does the slide stop? It has got nothing to do with he's a Punjabi or he's a Pashtun or he's somebody else. It has to do with how do they rebrand themselves in front of people and say that I am a different general than what has happened in Pakistan. And I am, the problem with Pakistan was that every time Pakistan as a state failed, they had a politician to blame for. Except one politician, which is Imran Khan. Before they could do that to Imran did it to them, saying that Pakistan is failing because they have done this with me. This is what the Pakistani army's game plan was. So now how do you rebrand and reinvent yourself? You can only do it when you start saying that the previous regime was something which was culpable to all these failures and we are something different, we are not this. And that is why we are seeing this kind of rift happening within the army.
That's interesting. Mr. Batiwala says, sir, what will happen to Pakistan's only profit-making business, the Fauji Foundation? Will that $20-30 billion conglomerate now make diapers for the Pakistani soldiers? Batiwala sahab, might I correct you? It's about $40 billion.
Yeah. See, what will happen? Nothing will happen. They have made their money for ages. They will just leave Pakistan. The problem with Pakistani journals is they have no stake in Pakistan. All their stake is in foreign countries, from US to Dubai to everywhere. Every journal after retirement gets up and leaves, right? And he comes to Pakistan to enjoy some time and have some fun, meet all his relatives, see how grand he is, keep poking his nose into the Pakistani establishment business and tries to keep himself elevated so he can, collect some money from where he is living in the West and become a stakeholder there and say that I have influence in Pakistan. Otherwise, Pakistani general has no interest in Pakistan per se. They only have interest in themselves and that interest stays.
Last 2-3 questions. Raja sir, if Baloch win cutting off the sea access to Pakistan by taking narrow Lahore corridor, will it be good for Bharat? It's theoretically possible to do so on a map. Thoughts?
See, it is good for us because at the end of the day, if you're cutting them off there, you're also cutting the Chinese influence, right? But you have to be very, very careful of this American influence at the same time.
Yeah.
Because an increased American influence is also not good for us. But yes, on the larger interest, it's going to be good for us.
And the closer they go to the elections, Americans will get more and more desperate and you'll find them doing crazy things, which is what we are seeing.
They already are.
Piyush Saab says, how do you guys see Pakistan playing out if Trump comes to power? Will he follow his policy of ignoring Pakistan?
See, I told you, I said this in last podcast also, this thing of US ignoring Pakistan is not correct. The Americans have a lot of interest in Pakistan and they will maintain that interest. If Trump comes back to power, he's going to have that interest. What is happening in Balochistan is because of Pakistan, is it because of US interest? No. So where are they ignoring? The IMF loan coming in Pakistan the Americans are making sure that that much of an amount of money goes into Pakistan, right? So where has the interest went off? Nowhere, right? They're playing their game. So Trump will continue to play his game. Yes, absolutely. It will just become more tougher for Pakistanis. He'll squeeze their neck a bit more harder than what Biden and Harris is doing. So basically, they've got Pakistan in a strangle, right? So the grip is going to tighten when Trump comes. That is what is going to happen.
And last one, Pakistani army has made all-round regional heads group or something to come up to fight with a plan to fight and control terrorism and extremism. Do you think it will do any good? They've started linking
I
up
don't
with
know what plan they have.
Uzbeks and ये वो करना शुरू करा है इन लोगों ने, but
too late. What are Uzbeks going to do for them? Are they not going to outsource Uzbekistani army to say and come fight Taliban because we cannot fight it because we have a narrative that you are fighting, you are being anti-Islamic? It's not going to happen. See, this Pakistani army terrorism plans have failed. When they journal on 6 stands and say it is not a military operation, you know that they've gone wrong, and they're accepting everything which has gone wrong with them. So I really don't buy into that argument.
Yeah, anti-terrorism.
So I don't buy into that. So I don't buy into that argument.
You know, the point is, I think we are going to see, just to conclude, I think we're going to see a more desperate Pakistan going forward, which will be kind of looking for small victories somewhere around the place so that it can actually just please its population and keep it calm. But having said that, with the way that these protests are going on right now, let's see kaise jata hai, because this is a very interesting scenario.
Yes, so these protests are very interesting. Let's see tomorrow morning what the response is going to be, and the week after how the response is going to be. Let's also see if they are going to double down on Bajwa, right? Yeah. The Pakistanis are also desperate. Let's be very, very careful of them right now, because when they are in huge desperation, they tend to know destructive things. You never know with them, so you have to be very careful. So, but looking at Pakistan, it's a dismal position right now. The Pakistani establishment is in a very bad position. It's like checkmate for them. They're almost lost.
Excellent, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and we shall see you next week. But guys, before you sign off, like and drop a comment for engagement in the platform. Thank you so much, Ji. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me again. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.